Did you know that only about a third of the world drives on the left side of the road? And it's not random, there's a real reason behind it. Stick around because by the end of this episode, you'll know exactly why. And remember, today we're going slow so you can understand every single word. Hello, and welcome back to Slow English. Today we're talking about something a little strange. Why do some countries drive on the left and others drive on the right? In fact, only about 70 countries drive on the left. Countries like the United Kingdom, Japan, Australia, South Africa, and India. But most of the world, about 160 countries, drives on the right. So, what happened? Why isn't everyone the same? Let's go back hundreds of years to find the answer. Long ago, in medieval Europe, most people traveled on horseback. There were no cars, no traffic lights, just dirt roads and horses. Now here's an important detail. Most people are right-handed, and in those days, many travelers carried a sword for protection. If a stranger was coming toward you on the road, you wanted your right hand free to hold your sword just in case there was danger. So it made sense to keep to the left side of the road. That way, your right hand, your sword hand, was closer to the other person. This wasn't a law exactly. It was just common sense. And over time, it became a habit across most of Europe. In fact, in 1300, Pope Boniface VIII told pilgrims traveling to Rome to keep to the left. So even the church was involved in this tradition. But then, in the 18th century, something changed. In the United States and in France, people started using big wagons pulled by several horses. These wagons were large and heavy, and the driver didn't sit on the wagon itself. He sat on the last horse on the left side. Why the left side? Because he needed his right hand free to hold the whip and control all the horses. Now, if the driver was sitting on the left, he could see the road better. If he stayed on the right side, that way he could judge the distance to oncoming wagons more easily. So, slowly, driving on the right became the normal way in the United States and in France. And later, a very famous person helped make this change official. Can you guess who? It was Napoleon Bonaparte. Napoleon conquered much of Europe in the early 1800s, and everywhere his army went, he introduced driving on the right. That's why countries like Germany, Spain, and Italy drive on the right today. But the United Kingdom, which Napoleon never conquered, kept driving on the left. Now you might be asking, what about all the other countries that drive on the left? Countries like India, Australia, or Kenya? The answer is simple: the British Empire. In the 19th century, Britain had colonies all over the world, in India, in Australia, in parts of Africa, and in the Caribbean. And wherever the British went, they brought their laws, their language, and yes, their driving habits too. So today, many former British colonies still drive on the left, even though they gained independence many years ago. It's a small but very visible piece of history that you can see every single day on the streets. Interestingly, Japan is a bit different. Japan was never a British colony, but it also drives on the left. Historians believe it's connected to samurai culture, where warriors also carried swords on their left hip, just like in medieval Europe. Parte 5. Curiosidades e situações engraçadas. 5:30, 6:45. Here's something interesting. Sweden actually used to drive on the left until 1967. On September 3rd, 1967, at exactly 4:50 in the morning, all traffic in Sweden switched from the left side to the right side at the same time. Can you imagine that? Every car on every road changing sides in a single moment. The Swedish people even called that day Dagen H, which means H Day. And today, this difference still causes funny and sometimes dangerous situations. Tourists driving in a new country often forget which side to drive on. In the UK, there are actually signs at ports and airports reminding foreign drivers, drive on the left, because so many accidents happen in the first few minutes after renting a car. So, let's summarize what we learned today. Long ago, people drove on the left because of swords and self-defense. Then, wagons and whips changed things in America and France. Napoleon spread driving on the right across much of Europe. And the British Empire spread driving on the left around the world. It all comes down to horses, swords, and history from hundreds of years ago. And that small piece of history still affects your life today every time you cross the street in a foreign country. Isn't that fascinating? A simple habit from the Middle Ages still shapes how billions of people drive today. If you learned something new, hit subscribe. Every week I bring you a new story like this, slow enough for you to understand every word. See you next time.